Listen up. We've all been there. It's 3 p.m. You're stuck in another mind-numbing meeting, and your eyelids are drooping more than you want to admit. You think about grabbing another cup of coffee, but you know it's just going to make you jittery, and you're going to have a crash later on. That, guys, is where mud water comes in. It's like coffee's laid-back cousin, packed with the good stuff. Chai, cacao, lion's mane, chaga, reishi, cordyceps, turmeric, cinnamon, the works. All the energy, none of the shakes. With mud water, you are going to feel focused, energized, and ready for whatever the day throws at you. No crashes, no jitters, and guys, it is totally organic. Non-GMO, vegan, kosher, gluten-free, you name it. I'm talking no sugars, no sweeteners, just that raw, earthy kick that you need. Plus, it won't keep you wired when it's time to wind down. And I've even gotten to the best part. Guys, this is incredibly easy to make. Scoop, stir, drink. You're back in the game. Head over to mudwater.com, grab a starter kit, use the code Chael. That'll save you over 40% and free shipping. Plus, we're going to throw in a rechargeable frother. That's right, over 40% off at mudwater.com. Just use the code Chael. And when they ask, tell them you heard it from the bad guy. Stay sharp, stay steady, and dominate your day with Mudwater. Belal Muhammad is out. Staph infection. Bad one, too. By the way, I'm not crazy about talking about guys' medical reports. It makes me a bit uncomfortable, but Belal is the one that put this out. So, and staph can be very serious. Like, there's not a whole lot of meaningful periods in my life where I haven't had staph. I don't think much of it. And it goes around mats a lot. Wrestling rooms, jiu-jitsu, MMA, this type thing. But there are different ones based on how deep they get. And if you get hospitalized for staph is the number one thing that people in hospitals die from. Number one, you might go in the hospital with cancer. More people will then die of staph regardless of what they went in for. It'd be very, very serious. And when you get to the point that you're hospitalized, or in Belal's case, they even put a pick into his arm so they can get him IVs and he can have no physical activity for 6 weeks. I think I offer that entire explanation largely just because I know how this works. And the way this works is Belal's scared. He's a chicken. He whipped out of the fight. Not this time. Right? I mean, not that Belal's ever done that, but I just mean as a fighter in general. Don't do that to him on this one. When you get staph to this degree, you're not out of the woods until it's gone. There's people that have had to have body parts amputated, people that die. I'm just sharing this with you. Very serious stuff. So the main message would be, get well, Belal. You then have a question of what do you do with his spot? Because his spot was two different things. It's important that you understand from this perspective. And we can do what we want in this sport and we can make up the rules as we go. That's true, but that's not what people like to do. The decision makers like to have a precedence, have a history behind it. They will do everything they can to preserve a card to the best of their ability. So in this situation, what would that mean? It would mean keeping Rakhmonov on the card. The reason that is not possible in this situation is it's a main event title fight on a pay-per-view, which is very consistent with main events of pay-per-views. If Belal's not bringing the belt, it now all of a sudden can't be a main event of a pay-per-view. Now, you do have the option of doing an interim championship. But you're now talking about a main event pay-per-view headlined by Rakhmonov in question mark. It's a tough spot. I think that you'd have to break up a fight. If you wanted to follow any kind of rankings or things like this, possibly Ian Gary would want the opportunity. I don't think Ian Gary is looking for opportunities like this. And I don't think that because he didn't call for this opportunity. Rakhmonov is out there saying, I would like to do an interim fight. I'd like to keep the date. But there's not guys, and I don't want to just single Ian Gary out. There is nobody that's coming in and saying that they want that opportunity. Moreover, if you were to turn to a guy that you could count on to bring in some interest, you would be looking to Kamaru Usman. But Kamaru Usman, as of now, is planning to fight Jack Del Lima. I just don't know that you're going to interfere with that fight. That's in Australia, Jack's backyard, so that comes with some casualties as well. So my guess is that you're going to pull Rakhmonov, you're going to wish Belal well, and you're going to wait for another date. Now, the conversation part of it, okay, I know what they're going to do. Do you want me to tell you what they're going to do? All right, they're putting Ankalaev and Pereira in. They're putting Ankalaev and Pereira in. There you go. That's the answer. But I didn't want to get right to that because, first off, that isn't signed, but that has been offered and that has been accepted by both parties. But secondly, I think that you do have a meaningful conversation, which is what we do over here. You have a meaningful conversation on what would be best for future business at 170 pounds. Now, I can tell you specifically for Belal Muhammad what would be best is if they got on with it. What would be best if when Belal Muhammad comes back, which he doesn't know when that's going to be. By the way, there is a lot of macho-ness in the statement that Belal put out. It's another reason I don't love talking about guys' medical reports. But there was a macho-ness. Like Belal, by example, to quote him, said, I can do no physical activity for 6 weeks. So he's letting any ticket buyers know, don't buy your tickets. I won't be at that date. But what you're going to be left with is to believe that in 6 weeks, Belal can return to action. That is not the case. That is not the case. We will wish that and we will hope that well, and we'll let medicine and the experts take it from here. I'm just sharing for you. This is a very big deal what Belal is up against. And the mere fact that his first thought was to come to you so that you knew what was going on and that you didn't buy tickets or make plans, I really think that you should respect and appreciate that. In terms of what would be best, though, when Belal returns, because we don't know when that's going to be. Again, if you read his statement of I can have activity or I cannot have activity for 6 weeks, your mind will instantly flip that to I can have activity starting in 6 weeks. And it might be a case where we do need an interim champion. It might. And your opportunity to do that is right now. Now, that doesn't change the fact that you can't put Rakhmonov on top of the bill in the fight capital of the world for your final event of the year on pay-per-view. You cannot do that. But you could still get on with it, and you could still do an interim championship. But in theory, you bring Ankalaev and Pereira in. Pereira for the third time saving the day. That'll be his fourth fight this year. I don't know of a champion that's ever done that, but off the top of my head, I do believe that Max Holloway did that one time in a 12-month period. Not in the same calendar year, if you understand that distinction, but I'm sharing for you, it's yet another incredible thing that Pereira has done. It's yet another thing when he's done and you look back at legacies that people are going to speak about him specifically for. Now, if we were going to continue down the road of interim champion and just co-main event this thing, you still need an opponent. And you could look to Colby. Colby is always an option. George Masvidal is returning. I realize he's lost his last 4. I'm just sharing for you. What are you going to do with him anyway? Right? And I don't say that to be my typical dick of a self, but what are you going to do with George Masvidal? What difference does it make? Whatever he does and whoever he does it, again, it's a cash grab. So it would be an option. And George Masvidal would, in my opinion, cut the line for 2 reasons. One, notoriety. But second, and far more important, what 70-pounder are you going to get to do it? And before you get a 70-pounder out there goes, I'd do it, Chael, I'm not. No, you wouldn't. It doesn't count. You saying I would do it when Hunter calls you and then tells you what the financial participation is, it's not the same thing. Now's the opportunity. Chimaev's opponent fell through. The whole world knows about this. Chimaev is trying to stay on the card, or Rakhmonov is trying to stay on the card. He doesn't have an opponent, and not one of you offered to be that opponent. Anyway, another day of MMA. Get well, Belal. Come back. You got a division full of cowards to see over.